See, so collect individually, we are changing who we are, and when that happens, we collectively, we start to create a collective change. It only takes half of 1% of the world's population to create a shift. Half of 1%. Positive energy is far more powerful than negative energy. And we are bombarded with negative energy, right? But it only takes a half of 1% to create an to create a shift.
It's possible.
It's totally possible.
But
totally.
But we shouldn't even worry about that, though, right?
But worry?
Worry about, exactly. No, we shouldn't worry about the change in the world. We should just deal with our own...
Start with yourself first. It can only come from within.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. So what would you tell somebody? How did they start? How does somebody start to go through this process?
Well, okay, so what I talk about is there are three fundamental belief systems, actually four fundamental belief systems that have come through from Shift into One. One is believing is seeing, not the other way around, and like we were saying, from within forms without. Two is you are connected to everything. Everything is you, and you are everything. The third is the most important relationship you will ever have in your life is with your higher self. Not with your husband, not with your children, not with your boss, not with your animals, nothing. It's with your higher self. That's all you come in here with, and that's all you leave with. And the last one is everything is an aspect of you, and this is really, really, really powerful. Everything in your life, every person, place, thing, situation, every event is an aspect of you that you, as in your higher self, brought to you, as in your lower self, this physical self, in order to remember who you truly are. Okay, so that's how you take control of your life, because and you stop being a victim. Because if you get into a car accident, for instance, you just happen to get into a car, and even if the car accident is not your fault, okay, you brought that to you to show you something. Everything is that you attract what you are vibrationally. Like on an energetic level, like attracts like.
So in a situation like that, where you've brought that, say a car accident, to yourself, but you don't even know where to look for the gift in that.
You don't have to.
And you are feeling a bit like a victim, like you're mad at circumstances.
Okay.
What would you tell somebody?
First of all, awareness. Okay, if you start cursing the person, you start swearing at the person, throwing things at him, all of that, awareness. Notice that feel all of the resistance. Okay, maybe this is to help you raise awareness as to the resistance that's within. Okay, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to analyze it. Okay, so that's the thing. It's get out of your mind. And what you're asking is a mind question. So it's about feeling that resistance, not thinking about that resistance.
No, what do you mean? So I maybe I feel like yelling and throwing something.
Go ahead, but notice that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Notice you're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you know what? When I first started to do that, I was not present enough to not be able to do it. So I'd scream and I'd yell and I'd do all kinds of things, and then I'd notice it a week later. Because I was not very present. I'd notice it like a week later. And then as you become more aware, you start to notice it closer and closer and closer. And now I notice it when I'm doing it. And sometimes I still allow myself to do it. I say, oh, what the heck? I'm going to do it anyways. And I allow it. Just allow it. Don't judge yourself. Don't analyze. Don't judge yourself. Don't berate yourself. Just allow it to come up. As you do, you release it. The next time, heaven forbid, if you get into an accident again, it'll be less. It's about clearing so you can learn what it is to be in your isness. So anytime you're thinking or you're feeling resistance, the idea is not to think about it, it's to allow it. So what do you do with that? You notice those thoughts. Notice them. Just bring them. You can if you want. Every time you notice something, for instance, maybe take a nickel, have a coin of nickels, okay? Every time you feel any kind of resistance or negative thoughts, take a nickel, put it into a can. Okay, every single time you do. Once that can is full, give it to a homeless shelter or give it to a homeless person. That's a physical manifestation of all the negativity. That's awareness. That can of change is awareness. That's the first step. You have to bring awareness. Do you get that? Do you understand that?
Well,
I get the feeling you're really resistant.
Really?
Yeah. Natalie?
Yeah, Natalie.
It's a lot. No, it's a lot. Like the concept, it makes sense, but just applying it is what I'm having a hard time with, like figuring out. Like the overall concept is, it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree too.
But how do you like? So then once you have this new way of not thinking and just being, so then how would you use it in a positive way, or like what's the next step after you master that?
What's the next step? That's a great question. First of all, okay, this is normal. This is normal to understand it and not really get it. How do you apply it? That's the first step, and that's why going to a workshop is good, but people come out of them and they say, okay, I'm ready, I'm good, I'm full steam ahead. They go to work, they get caught in that negative moment, they're right back into their old patterns again. That's why these working groups are essential, because they help provide tools and support to help unravel that, because it's not a linear process. The first step, though, is to allow it into your linear mind. So that's the first step. Then the next step is to start using the exercises and allowing them to change you. So I just wanted to mention that. Now, what's next? You asked me what's next. How do you live from being? Was that kind of the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is everything is synchronicity. Things start to just happen and fall in front of you. They just happen to come to you, and that's your next step. You get ideas, you get thoughts from heart thoughts, not head thoughts, and they start to, if it feels right, if it feels in alignment, you go with it. If it doesn't, you don't. Things come to you, you don't go to them.
And you just know when it feels right?
That's about training
Okay.
the relationship with your higher self. So that I call it a bell or a buzzer. If it's the bell, it goes ding, 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 and off you go. If it's the buzzer, the bell is from your heart, the buzzer is your gut. That's when you have the that's when, okay, this may be my mind playing tricks on me. So you have to listen to your heart and your stomach. It's your emotions are your gateway to your higher self. That's the language you're using.
What if you did the training and you kind of mastered it, and then you were presented a situation and your gut said no, so you felt like it might not be exactly the right thing, but you do it anyway. Is that wrong?
There is no wrong. That's the beauty. There is no wrong. There's no right. There's no wrong. There's just experience. What will happen is if you decide that if there is any resistance down the line, you'll joke and you'll say, you know what, my higher self told me this, but I wanted to experience it anyway.
And that's okay.
So that's okay. There's no right. There's no wrong. There's no good. There's no bad. There's no high. There's no low. It just is, and that allows you the freedom of no judgment, and that's stepping into your power. That's how you become powerful. Your only power is in your isness. It's nowhere else. You're totally powerless if you are not in your now. That's absolute.
Do you feel calm all the time? Like, do you always feel
I am so excited right now. I can't even tell you.
Okay, excited. Excited is a good emotion. So like excited, happy, that's maybe not calm, but it's still, like, do you ever feel stressed?
Do I feel stressed? Absolutely. I have to tell you, not too long ago, I was driving and there was a slaughter truck that was driving beside me, and I'm a vegan, and I don't like slaughter trucks, and so I thought to myself, okay, you know what? I shouldn't be doing this. I'm judging myself and all of this stuff, but I'm going to drive this guy crazy. So I went in front of him and I cut him off. Okay, we shouldn't do this, and I know we shouldn't do this.
I hope you were aware of what you were doing.
I was so dumb. And I said, ego, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do it anyways because it feels good right now. So he beeped his horn, flashed his lights, went into the other lane. I went in front of him, went into the other lane. He started to beep his horn, flash his lights, and I played with him a little bit until he went off and we went to different paths. And you know what? I knew I shouldn't do it, but it felt good anyway.
Yeah, but that's part of being a physical being, is just doing stuff like that.
Yeah, we're all human, but the thing is, I knew it, and I was allowing myself that, and yes, he was my victim. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but I was in my moment, I was totally aware, but I'm not labeling good or bad. It just is, and for me, I felt the desire to do that, so I did it. And then I just let it go. I said, okay, you know what? It's up. It's gone. I offer everything up. The good, the bad, I offer it up to the universe, and I say my higher self, because I'm just experience. I'm just an experience experiment. That's all I am. So I'm not going to label it good or bad. I'm just going to experience and offer it up, and away I go.